What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of The Natty Teacher. I am, of course, your host. Who else but The Natty Teacher? And it is a little after 10 a.m., kind of an earlier workout for me during the summers, but I have to, I'm actually kind of on a time crunch here. By the time I get to the gym, I'll have probably about an hour and 15 minutes or so to get through an entire pull session. So not that that's a super short amount of time, like that's a pretty good amount of time, but I'm gonna have to be very, very on top of my rest periods today. Really rocking and rolling with those, making sure we're, keeping those nice and tight and going from there, because I got a little bit of a time crunch, so that's why I'm training as early as I am. Not that that's super early, but I am 2 meals in still, so I got up nice and early this morning. I was up at, not record-breakingly early, but for the summer for a teacher, getting up, at 6:30 or a little before there, was something I'm not used to. I'm usually in the summer getting up closer to 8 a.m. right now, and I start to kind of wind that back as the last couple weeks in August approach, just to kind of get back into a normal routine. But we're not there yet. So, anyways, So 2 meals in. I still did my fasted cardio this morning. Did not do my stomach vacuums. I'm going to do those later, just purely because I wanted to save that extra few minutes this morning. Not that it's a lot. It's usually between like 4 and 5 minutes total for 10 rounds of that. But I just wanted to be sure that I had a few extra minutes. But still knocked out my cardio. Again, 2 meals in. A little under 2 liters of water in. I'm not as hydrated as I would want to be, but we're close. We're moving and grooving, man. Like I said, we gotta kind of haul butt today in the gym. But like I already said, it's a pull session. So what do we got? A little bit different, not way different. In my first pull session of the week, that's where I do the majority of my rowing movements. In a training week total between both pull sessions, I believe I have, I guess if you call like the cable pull down a row, it's really not, it's pull down. So in my training sessions, I have 3 pull down movements, 3 rowing movements, and I guess logically 4, because I have a couple single arms. Yeah, so 4 pull down movements, 3 rowing movements, and then a shrug, which obviously is more towards that, more towards the trapezius muscle than anything else, at least if done correctly. But so today, here's what we got. We got that single arm pull down off the cable, and then we have our chest supported rows, but with the hands pronated, so we have kind of, I call it a bicycle grip. So you have I got real close there. Have the hands like this, rowing through. We're actually going to make sure we adjust the seat. So this training block, this particular row is more towards that upper back more than anything else. Try to bring out some more of the detail on that upper back as food has come down and detail continues to show that bloat, that inflammation, some of that water, some of that fat starts to get kind of cut off here a little bit. We want to make sure that we're bringing in as much detail as possible, still training hard and heavy, but really, really focusing on the form, resetting the logbook a little bit, just to make sure that we're taking any kind of movement that we were ego lifting, and either taking it out or fixing it and not ego lifting anymore. There you go. Single arm cable pull down, chest supported row. Then we have an underhand mag grip pull down, which I really like, close grip as well. Love that movement, has become a staple in my sessions. Then we have a Smith machine shrug, so old school, you know what I mean? I know people are big on the Kelso shrugs right now. I think that's awesome. Like, there's a lot of great movements. I like shrugs. It's an old school thing to do, and I just personally enjoy it. So I'm gonna just kind of rock with it. Then we have our rear delt work, and then biceps. That's it. So it's a pretty simple session, like not anything super, super fancy. I think it's 6 total movements. It's nothing really crazy. So we'll have our machine rear delts, and then just 4 working sets of some cable curls, which has become probably my favorite bicep movement as of late, for sure. And that's it. I would normally train abs after this, but for sake of time today, I'm going to do an ab circuit at home later on. So I have like a decline bench, and that's when I'll do my stomach vacuums and stuff like that. So I'll rock on my stomach vacuums later on this afternoon, and then a little bit of direct ab work as well, just to make sure we're not missing out on that. Go from there. Pretty simple stuff, guys. So I'm a couple minutes away from the gym. I'm going to get in there and get ready to rock and roll, and I'll catch you guys for the top set of my first movement, which is those single arm cable pull downs coming at you right about now. All right, first exercise up, as promised, we got some good old school single arm pull downs. Now, here's what I like to do, guys. I like to angle that bench up. You can see from here, it's about, probably about 70, 75 degree angle on the bench, right about that. Kind of like how you would set up like a high incline press or something like that with the bench. And I use the hand that is not pulling down the weight to support it and just kind of straddle the bench like you're riding a horse, for lack of better terms. I put a little bit of an incline in the bottom part of the bench as well. So we were able to add a rep to this bad boy while keeping form pretty dang tight, but not tight enough to where I would want to jump up and weight quite yet. We want that 10th rep to be a little bit smoother, a little bit more controlled, and go from there before we go up and weight a little bit. Then we got some good old school chest supported rows. Now what we've got here is, again, we have made some adjustments in weight because this was an exercise I felt like I was really ego lifting. So we didn't drop the weight a ton, but did drop the weight a little bit just to make sure that we are not getting down that path of ego lifting and just trying to beat the logbook just to beat it. So we made an adjustment in the seat as well, to where the seat actually came up one, I believe, or went down one, and really put me in a great position to row this weight for like that mid upper back. It felt awesome. So I'm a big fan of this movement, and any kind of chest supported row is solid. Then we have some close grip underhand pull downs. As you can see here, we're really emphasizing that stretch on the way up. And then I like to stop the handle itself just above the chest. If you want to pull it all the way down to the chest, dude, feel free. I just noticed I have really long arms. And so for me, like being kind of I have like long limbs in general. When I was pulling the weight all the way down to like my chest or lower portion of my chest, I felt like I was really allowing my arms to take over. When I'm stopping just above the chest, I feel like I am really allowing the back to still be the main driver in pulling this weight down. So anyways, felt really good, felt nice and strong. And yeah, that was about it. After this movement, we threw in one I haven't done in a while, which I am excited to continue to progress, which is just a Smith machine shrug here, guys. Very simple. Now, I did a little exercise tutorial on this bad boy. What you'll see here is each one of these reps, I have a quick pause at the top like that. And then I really allow, if you look at like my upper traps, you can really see that I allow that weight to really sink down. Now, we're not letting the weight pull us down. There's a big difference. But we do want that weight to sink down and stretch as far as we can comfortably go down without bending over, or again, allowing the weight to drop or what have you. And then get that nice peak contraction at the top. It's really what's going to add some good meat to the upper part of your trapezius muscle. Remember, the traps, the majority of them are not even seen from the front. The majority of them are seen from the back. But this can absolutely help you peak up the upper portion of your traps for sure. Then has slowly become, or not slowly actually, I would say more quickly, has become probably my favorite rear delt exercise to do, which is just a single arm rear delt fly using the cables. What I noticed is my rear delts, don't get me wrong, they had gotten pretty strong, but on the machine, like rear delt flies like you would do on like a pec deck or what have you, I noticed I was using a lot of other muscles. And at that point, after doing like a full back workout, I noticed it was very difficult for me to really like feel my rear delts or connect with my rear delts, I should say. So this exercise really has allowed me to drop the ego a bit, kind of, rebuild with an exercise I've done before, but never really truly progressively overload, and actually connect with the rear delts, really isolate them out as much as I possibly can. So again, we're really just allowing, I'm using a cuff here if you look closely. So I have the cable tower to where, at least for my height, I have the actual like cable itself at the highest setting. We have a cuff, and essentially we are just trying to keep a very slight bend in the arm, but mostly straight, and just pull down through till the arm is parallel to the side of the body, squeezing that rear delt at the bottom of each rep. So again, I'm a big fan of this movement. I think it's awesome, and I'm excited to really progress this one as time goes on. I will say that normally I would not keep reps this high, so you'll see in future videos with this exercise they definitely won't be. Then add to the only bicep movement we have for the day, but we are doing 4 total working sets, and that is an old school straight bar cable curl. I love this bad boy. I think this is one of the best bicep building movements you can have in your arsenal of movements to do. You can see here we're using kind of a shorter straight bar. You can absolutely use a longer one if you want. I've just found this one's comfortable for me. I have my elbows, if you look closely, they are slightly in front of the body, and we are curling that weight up to where it is like, essentially touching my nose. Again, we're not curling it to the chin or to the chest or whatever and limiting that range of motion. We are keeping those elbows out in front of the body and really bringing that weight up and controlling it on the way down. I believe this was my second working set, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this one felt awesome. Again, I'm a huge fan of cable curls. If you don't have at least one cable curl variation in your arsenal of movements each week, I would try it. Not requirement. I like a lot of free weight stuff too, but I have found that I really, really dig this cable, the standing cable curl for sure. So, that was it for the session, guys. Nothing super complicated, but just trying to progress it and get stronger and better. Pull B session in the books. Kind of doing a later outro. I had to run and pick up my daughter real quick, and then we went to the store. Had to grab just a quick pack of chicken and one pack of ground turkey because we're doing our regular grocery shopping tomorrow, but we were a little low for the next day and a half or so. So grabbed that real quick, and I also snagged a little treat for myself. A little C4 grape popsicle. I am a fan. I like this one a lot, actually. It's very, very good. That's good. I asked my daughter, we were in the store, and they had a little stanchion for C4 energy drinks. So I said, all right, which one should I get? Cherry, grape, paused for a second, for Skittles. And I for sure thought she's going to say Skittles. It's the last option I gave her. You guys have a young child yourself. If you've ever been around young kids, usually the last thing you say to them, they just will say that. But she's getting to that point now where she's deciphering and differentiating between answers. And so she's like, oh, if that's not a good choice, then even if it's the last thing said, then I'm not going to agree to it. So she kind of hesitated for a second, and then was thinking about it, and was like, grape. So I was like, you know what, I wasn't super in the mood for grape, but when she said it, I'm going to go for some grape, needless to say. So that's what we're going to be sipping on the way home, listening to a podcast, chilling, all that. Even being a little short on time, that was fun, because I feel like you really are I was just in it, you know what I mean? And being at that, being at the gym at that time of the day, obviously, I already work out at a very small gym, which I really, really like. It's a small community. Every time I'm in there, I know at least one other person there, put it that way, other than the manager himself. But, there's at least one other person working out there that I know every single time, which is just a cool thing. Like I said, very small community thing. Excuse me. It just feels like you just feel comfortable there, you know what I mean? But even being short on time, cruised through it, got my entire workout in, again, minus abs. I did not train abs directly. Still got to my mother-in-law's, I don't want to say early, I was still a few minutes later than I would have liked, but a little sooner than I thought I was going to, put it that way, so that was good. It was a great session, man. I love those cable curls. It's such a simple exercise. A cue I'll give you guys, and maybe I'll do one of my little exercise index videos on YouTube Shorts. So make sure you tune in and watch those. But maybe I'll do one on cable curls. A simple cue to take the ego out, but still being, in my opinion, strong. If you have strong biceps, you still be in a pretty strong position. And if you feel weak in this position, then you're like, okay, I need to build some biceps or at least some strength in there. Just keeping the elbows slightly in front of the body. You know what I mean? Keeping them, I don't mean you gotta be way in front of it. I don't have to be hanging way off the body or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But keeping the elbows just slightly in front of the body. When you do a preacher curl. You don't do a preacher curl standing up with your elbows attached to the side of your body. You do it, on an angle, slightly out in front of your body. So mirroring that kind of concept with cables or straight or easy bar, whatever it is, and just keeping the elbows slightly out in front and just trying your best to curl only with the biceps. When you curl up at the shoulders, you shouldn't be getting a shoulder pump, a front delt pump out of your bicep curls. If you are, you're probably using a little too much weight. If you feel a little bit, that's probably fine, but you definitely don't want to get done with your set of curls and then, look in the mirror and, the only thing pumped is your shoulders. At that point, you're just herking and jerking weight up. It's not doing a whole lot for your biceps, or not as much as it could at least. So be leery of that. It's just such a simple cue. Such a simple thing. I would curl as high as you comfortably can. So to that nose eye range, really squeeze, get as much as you can, man. Get as much as you can out of that movement. Really juice that movement out and, go from there. But yeah, phenomenal workout. Like I said, still do have a little bit of, there's a chance I might just train abs tomorrow, in the gym. So we'll see how I'm feeling. So yeah, mean, that's the only thing I would have left is some direct ab work. But again, it's, I'll see how I'm feeling later on. It's kind of nice. It's, not even 1 p.m. and already 3 meals in, and got my cardio in this morning, and my, an awesome pull workout. Like, it was great. I'm really digging those single arm rear delt flies, because I got pretty strong to the point of, like, where I was comfortably not doing as many reps as I would have liked, maybe like closer to like 6 or 7 reps. Doing the full stack on the reverse pec deck, and then I, kind of hit the reset button on it, lowered the weight a little bit, honed in on form, but it just really would always bug my shoulder. I don't know why, and sometimes even my elbows. When you get into those heavy loads like that, I was like, man, like, I'm really just trying to hit rear delts. Like, I'm hitting rear delts, but like, I know I'm definitely using other parts of my back, and at the same time, like, it's hurting some of my like joints. Not super keen on that, and so I've been running twice a week now, those single arm rear delt flies off the cables. And I feel like today, like, I felt it a little bit when I did it in my pull A session earlier this week, and then I felt it like way more today using a cuff, again, and not worrying about trying to go up in weight, but really locking down the reps, which I will say I did 2 sets of like 20, which for me, 20 reps, not a terrible thing, but I like being closer to like 12 to 15 is kind of a, top end of most of my movements. So definitely can go up in weight a little bit. I feel like we comfortably mastered that weight. So regardless, yeah. But yeah, just wasn't using the ego, and really felt like I was locking in on that rear delt. Like, really felt like I was locking in, like, pretty much solely on that rear delt. Wasn't using my arm to yank down the weight. I had like slight hitch in the elbow, but not a big bend in the elbow. Was finding those comfortable spots and really just locking in on the rear delt, and it felt really good. So I'm definitely going to keep rocking with that one in this training block for sure, and continuing to isolate those rear delts as much as possible. Get as big of a pump and squeeze in those bad boys as we can, because it's such a minute muscle. Like, it's such a small muscle, and especially coming off of like a full back workout already before that, I'm not, my main concern is not, building more back with that movement. Like, I want to isolate the rear delts as much as possible, and I felt like those like reverse back deck, reverse rear delt flies on the back deck, it just wasn't, I just felt like I wasn't connecting as much as I would have liked to. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So super happy to have found that movement. Excited to continue to run that one. Like I said, I've done it before in the past, but never really like followed through with it. I like did it a few times, and I'm just like, single arm stuff takes too long, all this kind of jazz. But I'll just do the dual arm thing and just try to progressively overload that and just stick with that. And I'm glad to be doing the single arm stuff, isolating it a little bit more for sure. So did shrugs for the first time in a while too. Really milked the stretch and squeeze on shrugs. I feel like that's a really important thing. Like, if you want to actually make shrugs work for you and for your traps, like, you really need to milk that stretch and squeeze. You know what I mean? Like, I see too many guys loading up 4, 5, 6 plates on the shrugs and just racing through those reps. I'm not sure what this guy was doing. I don't know what this guy behind me is doing. Yeah, I've had my turn signal on for the past couple minutes. I don't know what he's doing. Not a couple minutes, but that was like, he's a lane to go around, so that was funky. Yeah, he just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Either way, yeah. So enjoyed those shrugs. Again, really held the squeeze at the top, and then really controlled that eccentric on the way down. Really allowed that, the upper part of the trapezius muscle stretch on the way down, and then sat in that stretch too. So it wasn't just like, like this, like you see a lot of people do, which again, you're going to stimulate parts of the traps, sure, a little bit. But again, that's why I always say, guys, I don't think there's a lot of training styles that are just inherently super wrong, super fast, super slow, whatever. But you got to find what works for you, what's going to keep you healthy and keep you in the game for a long time, and what's going to stimulate the muscle as much as possible. Because you can get stimulation from a lot of things, a ton of things. You can get stimulation just from, holding your arm up next to your body, and, eventually your side delt's going to really start burning if you hold it up there long enough. You know what I mean? Does that mean it's the best for building side delts? Absolutely not. But does it still stimulate the muscle? Sure. So I think that's an argument I see so much on social media now, is like, this is right and this is wrong. If you do this wrong thing, you're stupid kind of thing. I don't really dig that. Not a huge fan of that. Like, there's a lot of ways to train, we'll say, correctly, but I can't also sit here and say that there's other ways that can connect with the muscle a little bit more. Sure, you know what I mean? So it's like, could you be leaving a little bit on the table if you're training one way over another? Maybe, or vice versa. You know, maybe there's, you know, maybe you're training perfectly for your body and how you're structured and all that, and you found it, and you're making awesome progress. Ain't that the goal? You know, that's the goal for everybody. Everybody's built different. Everybody responds different. You know, so find what works for you, what you respond to the best, and what's going to keep you in the game the longest as healthy as possible. There you go. There's my little spiel. Anyways, long outro. Again, if you guys want to get 10% off your Aspire, A-S-P-Y-R, athletic wear, very much so like a Breathe, Divinity, Controlled Insanity type company that I'm excited to be associated with and be an ambassador for. And I'm hoping at some point in the future, we'll see, I'm not going to put any eggs in this basket, but of course I'm hoping at some point in the future that you know, I can become an athlete with this company. So take it from just being an ambassador to an actual athlete. But that's the goal. But again, if you want to get 10% off your order, make sure you use the code NattyTeacher, capital N, capital T, first letter in both words. Make sure you screenshot that bad boy or send me through Instagram or TikTok or even your YouTube account. I don't know if you can do it on YouTube. It'd probably have to be through Instagram or TikTok. But send me some sort of proof of purchase, and I will give you a shout out on the channel. And also, if you want a training or diet plan written by me, same day, delivered to you through email, custom made for you. You got to fill out a form for me, like a, you know, kind of an onboarding form. Give me some basic info, and I will create a training and or diet plan for you for, instead of $50, $40. I know a lot of people will sell training plans for $500. Look, if you're looking for, you know, somebody who has way more experience as a former IFBB pro, all that kind of stuff, or current IFBB pro, and you know they're going to charge you $300, $400, $500 for a training plan. I don't think that's a crazy price to ask, but I know where I'm at in my life and my career as a coach and as an athlete. It would be dumb of me to try to charge $500 for something like that right now. Like I love doing those plans; they're fun for me. So I think my $50 plan is on par with anybody else's for sure, even if it's much more expensive than mine, maybe even better. So I really put a lot, you'll see based on the onboarding form that I put a lot of, you know, detail into your plan. Very much so custom make it just for you, and it will absolutely make you progress. I can promise you that for sure. Training plan, $40, diet plan, $40, or if you want both, I'll take 20 off both, give you 2 for 80, which is a steal, absolute steal, no doubt. Anyways, yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys, if you have not already. Thank y'all for following along and for subscribing. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the continued growth of the channel, so thank y'all so much. If you liked the video, drop it a like. If you really liked it, maybe even give it a share. Let your friends know about the Natty Teacher. That would be awesome. I would truly appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, any kind of feedback for me or for the channel, drop it down in the comment section below. When I see it, I absolutely will respond to it. Hey, guys, above everything, God bless. And from myself, the Natty Teacher, and the entire Natty family, this episode of Road to Natty Bros out. I'll catch y'all on the flippity flop.